Today we are reviewing the rank 1 Taliyah in Challenger, who is absolutely steamrolling with incredible builds. We are looking over a first strike game in Challenger Elo today. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you guys want to get that room page going, make sure you just pause the screen for a second there in the intro. But look at this. Okay, we're starting at the blue buff, and what I will note is before we start the buff, we actually get a piece of worked ground right on top of the blue buff, which you weren't able to see because he did that just before the blue buff did spawn. And then he goes ahead and walks down, gets a full Q off, then walks into the work ground, gets the stun Q off, etc., and keeps it going with the shorter Q cooldown. Now we can see we're getting actually invade here, level 2 invade from Nidalee, and we can indeed walk away here and wait for our bot lane to head over. Nidalee does not have smite, so we can actually look to fight this, and Nidalee will try to steal this away, but it's very risky for her now, and it looks like she actually does end up getting it, but we can look to kill her here potentially. She has no flash, and that is going to be first blood going over to us. Now, we originally were actually going to start on Raptors, and this is what Nidalee was anticipating because her top laner did spot us up over here. So that's why Nidalee looked for that invade. And because we saw that, of course, their top laner had vision of us here, and we knew that Nidalee most likely would invade based off of that information, we walked over to the blue buff and started that so that Nidalee would actually end up dying to us. It's really common for Nidalee players to invade, especially at this elo. So this just helps us ensure that, well, yeah, we're not going to get falling behind in the early game, which you really do not want to be doing on Taliyah, especially against a matchup like Nidalee, which can snowball very aggressively. And now we're wanting to play this very safe because it is entirely possible that Nidalee is just going to take her blue buff and then look to invade us again. She will be hitting level 3 off of that because I will remind you guys, she ended up getting the Gromp there. So we're going to play this safe. When we see Nidalee is actually looking for the invade here, and she ends up smiting that away from us as well. Now, that's not the worst deal in the world here because, of course, we ended up actually getting most of the smaller camps. But nonetheless, this is a rough start to the game. We did get our level 3, thank God, and now we can look to go get the bottom Scuttle Crab because we know that Nidalee will most definitely be currently taking our red buff here. And after we take the Scuttle here, we could also potentially look perhaps to take the Raptors, but we're just going to be seeing here what's going to be going on. Our first back here, because we got first blood, we ended up getting our Lost Chapter, which is of course an amazing buy. Because we went first strike, we are not going to be able to get boots until we get magical footwear, of course, which we're going to be, of course, making maximum use of. So we can see we're just opting to head straight over to the Raptors. On Taliyah, we actually take this camp very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and just steal that away from the Nidalee here. No need to use smite or anything like that. We can preserve that for the Scuttle Crab if Nidalee is going to be walking over here. And we're just going to hit that Scrying Orb to see if their bot lane or support is anywhere near us here. And of course, this crab is going to be going down with no problems. And our Gromp's going to be responding soon. So we can start looking for some counter ganks in the mid lane here. We do see that Tristana and Rakan are playing very aggressive. And Rakan's actually going to walk right into us here with Senna. He does end up using his, what should we call it? His little dash to get out, his W. But we're able to get a good amount of damage on him. No kill, unfortunately, just because Nidalee is showing up and Silas has a big wave, so he can't follow up on that. But nonetheless, we're just showing up there for our Silas so that he can actually farm and not get pressured too heavily by the Tristana and by the Rakan under the tower there. Now, we want to be taking the Gromp, of course, and proceeding with a full clear of our jungle. Tristana will not be able to contest us this time at our Raptors, so that's going to be good. We're going to be able to take that without having to worry about her invading us like she did last time. And we want to be looking for ganks here. Now, bot lane is a little bit difficult to gank because this wave is so big that our bot lane will actually not be able to help us if we go in. And well, we're not really great at taking on 1v2s, especially on Taliyah. Taliyah is more of a champion where you're looking for your team to set up CC so you can get a free knockback and get a bunch of damage into your E and you know, just look to one-shot people off of the crowd control basically. Taliyah is a champion and a jungler that's harder to play for the sole fact that she's more reliant on her team than most other junglers. And of course, her Q, landing that is her main damage source. So if your opponent is able to avoid your Q, it does make your life quite difficult. And we see Tristana is going for the invade here. She gets one more auto. She kills us. And that's the annoying part about playing against Tristana. She will catch off even challenger players, guys, and a lot of elo boosters will opt to play Tristana for this reason. You can just look to invade, jump in on the enemy jungler's face, one-shot them, and then have your reset to get out, and nobody can really chase you down. So Tristana making a really great move there. Hard to play against that, I will say, especially when you have a Nidalee who's also looking to counter jungle you constantly. But now we can see that bot lane's pretty extended and Nidalee should be on the bottom side of her map. We know that she started red buff, so we're wanting to probably set up a counter gank here just to be safe. We did just see Nidalee here, so we do know she's definitely on the bottom side of the map, and she is looking to go over here to the red buff. We just barely spot her out on that ward, but Nidalee knows that we're here, so she is going to be playing back. We're actually looking to take this red buff from right under Nidalee's nose. This is an alpha move, I gotta say, because Nidalee, if she lands a spear here, we are as good as dead. But Silas, of course, is here to help us out, and this is going to be a pretty free kill on the Nidalee, assuming our bot lane does get here. And nice little play there from the Silas to pick up the Nidalee kill. Now we're going to go ahead and, of course, kill the Tristana as well. Very well played. If you didn't see that, but we did flash out here just to reduce the DPS incoming from the Tristana who jumped on us, and that was a really good move. We got out of vision. You know, we were able to still land our abilities from over the wall, and our Silas was able to clean everything up. Now, of course, making use of the death timers, we're going to counter jungle as much as possible here. Take whatever we can. Dragon's a little bit more risky because, well, the enemy team does have teleport, and we're seeing they're using it right now. Seraphine just teleported to the bot lane there. So we're just going to go back to our own jungle. We're going to take our blue buff. We're going to take as many camps as we can. Look to get our mythic item, and then we'll set up a recall and just hit a huge power spike here. We're going to be able to take this very quickly, and we're just going to go through a standard clear of our jungle here. This is nothing too crazy, as we can see. And we're going to be taking that. But now we have our ults and we have people in the mid lane. Now that unfortunately does not work out. It does not be able to catch anyone out there. So we're just going to continue with the farm. With Taliyah's ultimate, you really just want to throw it out any single time there's a chance for a kill. Its cooldown is, you know, decently long, but you know, at the same time, it's one of those abilities you just have to kind of throw out and try to make things happen within the early stages of the game. It's very strong. Really good for bot lane ganks. You can really just cut people off and set up plays for your team, especially if you know they don't have flash. Taliyah's ultimate just becomes so invaluable in those kinds of situations for setting up kills. So they'll just be stuck there for 4 or 5 seconds, unable to get through, especially if they're an enemy bot lane that doesn't have any dashes like a Seraphine. Now, of course, Lianji is being picked up. We have 3 Dark Steel stacks. We're pretty close to getting our jungle item completed with just a couple more clears of our jungle, and that'll be done. We're now going to be looking to set up some more kills. We want to cover mid lane here because Tristana is pushing it very aggressively. Get some free experience, you know, push Tristana back, even stop her back here actually, just to be a nuisance. This is kind of like what you can do on Taliyah just to be extra annoying. But you see that Tristana did walk all the way back, so we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to go ahead and take away all of these good old camps that we can. Raptors is the ideal counter jungle as Taliyah. We see Jhin, of course, getting poked out there. He does have his ult, though. So we're going to look to kill this Rakan here, who is just barely living. But we get him over the wall there. That's fantastic stuff. We do see Nidalee here. We do have to be careful. Nidalee can actually one-shot us, and Jhin is very low. So Nidalee is getting charmed by the Silas. Great work there. Nidalee does land a huge spear on the Senna, but no follow-up is there. So we're just going to be looking to go ahead and counter jungle Nidalee some more. Just take everything away from her. She does not get to farm this game now because we have a lead, and now we're going to be oppressive towards her. And we're going to wait for a bot lane to push this in, and we're going to dive this. You want to look for these dives whenever you get picks, guys. A very easy kill there. Nidalee does end up trading for the Jhin. Jhin played a little bit too far up, but that's okay. Now we can also look to kill the Rakan here, actually. We just got to wait for the minion wave to come here, and then we see Senna does hit a very large stun there, but we just did not have our W up in time. So unfortunately, it's looking like we're not actually going to be able to kill this Rakan. It's just we didn't really line up our abilities together. If our W was up 1 second sooner, that would have been a free kill on the Rakan as well, but not quite. That is okay, though. We're going to go back to our jungle. We're going to proceed with our clear, not wasting any time, guys. And one thing you'll notice on Taliyah is taking dragons is pretty challenging. It's one of those things that takes a long time, and you're always going to need your bot lane to be there as well. So if your bot lane's not around, it does make it very difficult to actually take those objectives. So instead of like going for the objective constantly like you might on some other junglers, you just want to try and have enough pressure on the map that the enemy jungler is forced to not be able to take dragons themselves. So it's a better way to play the earlier stages of the game. Taliyah is one of the champions, fun fact, that takes dragons the latest on average every single game out of any other jungler in the game. There it is. We're going to be going ahead and taking the Krugs and setting up a reset here. So on this recall, we're definitely going to be looking to finish off our boots, I imagine. We get the Sork shoes, of course, an amplifying tome, great buys. And now we're going to go back to the bottom side of our map here. Looking to maybe set up a kill on the mid lane. We know Tristana is going to get this tower here with the Herald, of course. Just narrowly missing the W there in the Rakan, but Rakan's looking for the engage. We do have to be careful because Tristana can jump over this wall. We just need to keep cutting back. Tristana was just barely out of range, and it looks like she's now going to be dying for that. But we do end up trading, and we lose a lot of Darksteel stacks, which is very unfortunate. Just barely dying there to the Tristana. We should have just played a little bit far back. That was a minor mistake. Now our team's most likely just going to go back to their lanes and clear up. It was a 1-for-1 trade in the end. You know, not the end of the world, but we definitely could have lived there and still killed the Tristana. That was a definite possibility, but we just weren't quite respecting Tristana's strength at this stage of the game with Kraken Slayer. So that is something that we just got to be a little bit more weary of in future times. We have died to Tristana twice now. That's where all of our deaths have gone. It'll be expected though. Tristana is one of those champions that is very hard to deal with as Taliyah. She can just jump right on your face, and if you don't have your W up, it's really difficult to deal with it, especially at this stage where your E doesn't do enough damage to really threaten her enough for her to not want to do that. So we see that the bot lane is actually looking like something that is getting pushed in here, so we could look for Dragon off of this because we do know that Nidalee's on the top side of the map. We just need to go ahead and take this while we can. We're actually doing a lot more DPS now on Taliyah. Like the amount of damage we do after we get, you know, our Sork shoes is a huge spike. And this is something that's massively underrated on Taliyah specifically. Magic penetration is extremely cost efficient on this champion due to the way that your Q procs multiple times and doesn't have crazy high AP scaling like some other mages might. So for that reason, yeah, getting a ton of magic pen is a huge power spike on Taliyah. Now you can go both Luden's Tempest and Liandry's Anguish on Taliyah. Generally speaking, you always go Liandry's Anguish when you're against tanky champions, a stronger frontline, and then you'd go Luden's Tempest when you're against a squishier team. Liandry's Anguish will just do more DPS over the long term, basically against tanks, especially because of the bonus max health damage that you get, and the target's bonus damage you get as well. So anyone who itemizes a bunch of HP items, you know, even bruisers, Liandry's is extremely cost efficient against. I will say I think this was a slightly better game for Luden's Tempest, but we do see that Rakan is decently tanky. You know, we have Moonstone Renewer on the Seraphine, so it's not a bad item by any means. It's just, you know, for blowing up their squishy targets, you know, such as Nidalee and Tristana, it'd be a little bit better to have Tempest here. But Fiora will be a problem. And just look at that damage right there. See, with Luden's Tempest, she would have been even lower. so much damage. We love to see it. And this is a great way to set up picks on Taliyah. You just kind of hang out in the fog of war and you just walk up, hit them with your abilities, you know, make sure that you get prio wherever you can, hitting your worked ground everywhere. And we do have to be careful here. Rakan just narrowly misses us there, which is a really good thing, because if he did hit us, Nidalee would have been able to combo us out there, and that would have been very dangerous. But we're able to live, thank goodness, and we're going to go ahead and take the Herald, of course. The enemy team can't really fight us here. We do have numbers advantage, so that's going to be very free. And now we definitely want to get the mid lane tower here. So getting the mid lane tower really opens up the map. It allows you to invade a lot easier. So we're going to look to maybe pick off the Tristana as well. Great little hop in there. Now we do have to be careful. Tristana does do a lot of damage. We have learned that lesson before. We don't need to learn the lesson again, hopefully. Almost dying. Once again, if Nidalee hit anything on us there, we were dead. I do think Nidalee should have flashed in on us there to get the kill. At this point, it's very worthwhile for Nidalee to trade with us because she's 1-3, we're 4-2. But that's okay. We're going to be picking up a Seeker's Arm card, Fiendish Codex, Stopwatch, and now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to go back to the bottom side of our jungle. We see And Nidalee's actually here trying to pick us up. She looks like she cleared out our Gromp, but she did not get our wolves. So we're looking to maybe help out our Silas here, perhaps get a kill. That would be great. Silas is just narrowly missing the Fiora with those abilities, but I don't think Fiora sees us here, so perhaps we can get in, and we do end up killing her with that. Her parry was not ready for that one, and we get a free kill. Love to see that. You can really catch people off guard with your W when you're coming out of the fog of war. If people are not expecting you to be there, they won't really react to your W in time a lot of the time, even the top rated players. That is a tip that I think most Taliyah players need to integrate into their gameplay. I don't see a lot of them try to set up picks around fog of war like that. I will say her W is one of the harder abilities to land as well, so if you're not landing a bunch of Taliyah W's early on, don't beat yourself up too much. It does take practice. Maybe hop in a normal game, go in practice tool, and just try to land your W on camps, on minions, and moving targets if you can. Maybe hop in a custom game with a friend. Just practice Taliyah's W. That ability, if you can get it consistently, is extremely powerful. It's such a strong CC tool and allows you to set up all the rest of your damage in your kit for free. And you can one-shot pretty much any squishy target with a full Taliyah combo, especially in the mid stages of the game. Like right about now, you will notice, even with just a Zhonya's Hourglass and a Liandry's Anguish, if we're able to land our full combo on Nidalee or pretty much anyone else, it will actually one-shot them. We have Jin using his ult here. My cat is wanting to nap on my lap. Shout out to Mr. Kitty. He'll just come up to me and say hello and try to cuddle with me. That's just what he does. We see that Dragon is spawning shortly here. And so we're going to be positioning around Dragon, going to our blue buff, which we know is spawning very soon. Blue buff is really great, but look at this ultimate. That is a great ult to be setting up. Nidalee is forced to flash out. So now we know she does not have that for the Dragon fight. And we're landing a really large Q there onto the Fiora. And that's the power of first strike right there on Taliyah. It's narrowly missing the W, but we do get hit by a spear. So we have to be careful here. We can't overextend too much. Nidalee, of course, cannot engage on us, but yeah, that's okay. We're going to go ahead and take the Dragon here. We will take the Dragon. Just waiting out in the fog of war once again, waiting for them to engage. Looking for a W. We do smite out the Dragon here. Nidalee does jump in and she is going to die. She should not have tried that. That was a very silly play. There's no way they win this team fight either. Rakan is going to be griefing here. Nice play there, I will say, from the Rakan and Fiora, but we are going to be picking up that kill. Now we do just have to be careful for the Tristana, but our team is picking them up here. We do have to just kind of kite back on her right into the Silas. Well played. And we do, of course, win that fight. They do pick up 2 kills. 2 for 4. So, of course, and we also get Dragon. So definitely a trade in our favor. I will say the enemy team did play that better than I thought they could, based off of the events that occurred there. But now we're just looking to clear out our jungle and get a reset in. Buy our next set of items, which is, of course, going to be more magic penetration, guys. A big mistake I see on Taliyah players is going Rabadon's death cap. Do not do it, please. It's not cost efficient. This champion does not have great AP scaling, but she does benefit immensely from magic pen. Get void staff. You know, get your magic sorcerer shoes. Get all this magic pen you can in the early game. Death flame is also very good. All these items are phenomenal on the Taliyah, and just look how long the E gets. Oh my goodness, love to see that. So yeah, we're just gonna clear out the jungle. And we're going to group with our team now. We want to set up picks around Baron. Taliyah excels at setting up picks with the team, right? Lining up CC. Getting huge burst damage in. Absolutely one-shotting their squishy targets. That's what we do, right? We hang out in the fog of war. We buy our items. We got our void staff now, most likely. That's why he's looking to set up the recall. We got to be careful here. We can't walk too far up. We do get hit by a Nidalee Spirit, and we do see that Rakan's here going to look to instant charm us. But it's hard for them to walk up right now because we do have our entire team here. And that is going to be a dead Nidalee. And of course, the rest of the team, it does have to back up, or otherwise they're going to be dying to, you know, our Cassante rather. And we're just going to be getting in there. Huge damage. Walling them off. get some good, beautiful assists, and we can look to go ahead and actually also get a couple more mid lane towers and Baron. I want to see Baron right now. Right now, we go to Baron. They are doing it. Okay, perfect. So, oh, okay. Well, that was awkward. Did not expect that, but that's a 1-for-1 trade. That's okay for us to take here, and we can still get the Baron, no problem. So we're going to take the Baron. We're going to reset. We're going to buy our items. We get our Void Staff. We get a needlessly large rod. Itemizing all the magic pen items that exist in this game. That's essentially how you play Taliyah. We do see that they have an enemy Fiora down here, so we can look to fight this. We are extremely powerful right now. We just have to be careful for Fiora's combo, and oh, Nidalee's here as well. So we do have to. We have our Zhonya's. We have our Zhonya's. Oh, it was just coming off cool. That was like 1 second. It was 1 second. That's so unfortunate. So it looks like Sylas is also gonna die here. Oh my goodness. Jhin surely will be able to pick up a kill or two here. He does just need to get the auto off, and he'll get his fleet footwork, and that should be the kill. Just needs to keep walking forward, and there we are. This is a double kill. Very good stuff. I mean, overall, it was a little bit risky to walk into the Fiora, especially as Taliyah. That's one of those champions that can 1v1 you if they're 1-10 and you're 9-1, right? So just wanting to be a little bit safer on those plays, waiting for the Sylas just a little bit longer would have been ideal. But, you know, it is what it is. It happens. Everyone makes mistakes, even challenger players. Fun fact. Even top-rated challenger players, even top 10 challenger players make mistakes, guys. Believe it or not. Oh, there's our ult, and we're going back in. So, of course, we're not going to get any kills here, but we can look to help set up, you know, anything for our team here. Just show our presence and then go straight to Dragon. Oh my goodness, Jhin getting one shot. We will, of course, get the kill on Nidalee. And at this point in the game, our CDR is so strong. Our ability haste is so high that we're just spamming our Q every single time it's over. You're using it again, and it's just amazing, because once you get those worked ground and powered Qs with all that CC, oh, you just do so much work in these late game team fights. You actually do an insane amount of DPS. It's very underrated. As long as you're consistently just throwing that out and kiting the enemy team, it's extremely annoying to deal with in team fights, I will say. If you've ever gone against a really strong Taliyah player, you'll know better than anyone that champion is just so frustrating to play against. And we're seeing, of course, this player is using it to the maximum of their ability. Keel 2. Now we're pretty close to finishing off our item here, so we're gonna look to set up a pick, perhaps maybe get the Fiora. We gotta be careful here, because we do have a lot of missing people in the enemy team. We do hit her with the E there, but unfortunately not the W. And we see our Sante in the bot lane, looking for some plays, not able to find them, but we perhaps can. Look how long that ult range is. That is a free kill. We picked that up, no problems, and we're also going to be getting this Rakan, of course, in just a short second here. He's somewhere in there. There he is. We do pick that up, and wow, Senna actually living there. That's just a tilter from the enemy team. I would not be surprised if they forfeited very shortly after that play happens there. Just narrowly missing the ult there on the Jhin. Very close. Good ult from the Sylas, and we're just looking to pick up the Nidalee, but she's just barely out of range. So instead of, you know, chasing too long, we're going to want to help our team push in the bot lane here, get an inhibitor or two. We also do have the top lane that's shoving in here pretty soon. This tower is still quite healthy, so we just want to push in more lanes, set up a recall, of course, and get picks where we can, of course, as well. And looks like we got our item here. Oh, so we do get the death cap. Now, I will say at this stage of the game, when you do have all of these items set up, death cap is okay. You don't want to get a death cap second or third item on Taliyah, though. That does not make a lot of sense to do. But getting it like fourth or fifth item, yeah, of course. Why not? At that point, you just get so much ability power, and your damage will just go up so astronomically that it does make a difference. It is good. It is. You just need to have your magic pen first. Now we are going to go for Baron here, setting up this Baron power play. Enemy team is, of course, going to try and contest this, because they do know once we get this Baron, the game is essentially over. So we're going to be walling them off, and so we all know They're going to be coming from one specific corridor. And now we can look to set this up. I want to remind you guys that Silas does have Rakan's ultimate here, so we just want to get the CC. We do get the CC. Oh, we use our W just a little bit preemptively. We should have walked a little bit farther forward, but it looks like it doesn't even matter because our team is so far ahead. Enemy team just cannot deal with us, and Jhin is just walking up and smacking everyone down with his auto attacks. And now we're going to, of course, shove in the top lane here and just look to end the game. Not much the enemy team can do. They're just going to look to set up picks unsuccessfully, and they are going to die. And now, well, we go ahead, push in the game, we end it, and we are victorious. What a game. Smash the like button if you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys next time.